This is barriers, and before I show you around, I want to tell you why it exists. Every lesson we design has obstacles built into it, not the ones we plan, the ones we create without ever meaning to. The group discussion that silences the shy student. The dense reading that exhausts the one who decodes slowly. Some of these conditions we can see from the front of the room, and some we can't. Barriers is a reflection tool for finding them. It helps you plan a lesson, teach it, and then look back, honestly, at what stood between your students and the learning. Let me walk you through it. The first thing you'll notice when you open the app is what isn't there. No account, no sign up, no setup. Everything you create is stored on your device and nothing ever leaves it. Even the artificial intelligence runs entirely on device through Apple Intelligence. The first screen is a simple prompt to get you started. Give your lesson a title, define the subject area, write your learning intentions, and set the length of the lesson. Don't overthink any of this. You can change all of it later. We're just getting started. From here, you have two paths. Create the lesson yourself with the button in the top right, or let Apple Intelligence draft one for you, built from the intentions you've just written. Now, the app knows very little about your learners at this point, so that first draft may be fairly simple. That's okay. A first sketch is meant to be sparse. You're the teacher. The app just hands you a starting point worth improving. Once generated, you'll see your lesson separated into segments, the colored columns across the screen. Inside each segment, there are three parts: activities and methods, materials and tools, and segment notes. Everything here is direct manipulation. Drag a segment to reorder the lesson. Use the controls at the top of each segment to focus on it in full screen, or remove it entirely. Build the flow until it feels like your classroom. When you're happy with the flow, move to the Teach tab at the top. Here's your lesson as a visual timer, every segment color-coded, with a Gantt-style timeline underneath showing exactly where you are and what's coming next. We all know lessons don't go to plan. So when the discussion runs hot or the activity needs 5 more minutes, adjust the time on the fly and the rest of the lesson reflows around it. And here's my favorite part. Project this view to the classroom screen. Students always know what they're doing now and what comes next. That's not decoration, that's an executive function support built right into the room. For the student who can think perfectly well but struggles to sequence the steps, this view is the scaffold that lets the thinking happen. After the lesson comes the part the app is named for, and I'll be honest, this is where I want you to spend your time. Reflection in barriers is human-centered by design. So don't start with the lesson, start with faces. Think of 3 or more real students in your class and create personas for them. Now walk back through the lesson, segment by segment, through their eyes. For each part, ask 2 questions. How engaged was this student, and what stood in their way? Maybe they're shy and the group discussion cost more than it gave. Maybe reading aloud makes them shrink. Maybe they have a diagnosis that meant the task needed modification it didn't get. And maybe, this is the harder one, the barrier was invisible. A working memory that overloads. A language the lesson wasn't written in. The conditions we don't see are still conditions. Every barrier you identify, the app helps you map to CAST's Universal Design for Learning Guidelines, version 3.0. 50 years of research on removing obstacles by design. And the quiet promise underneath: remove a barrier for one student and you lift the whole room. Then if your iPad supports Apple Intelligence, tap AI Insights. The app analyzes your lesson for 2 things: barriers you may not have spotted and instructional illusions, the moments that looked like learning but may not have been. The activity that felt smooth and produced nothing durable. The engagement that was really just busyness. For each one, it suggests targeted UDL strategies, and like everything else, the analysis happens entirely on your device. Your reflections about real students never go anywhere. When the reflection is done, tap Export and Barriers generates an instructional coaching report as a PDF. Your plan, your timings, your reflections, the barriers you found, and the strategies you're taking forward. One document. Share it with a colleague. Bring it to your instructional coach, or simply keep it as a record of your own practice, lesson by lesson. It's your evidence that reflection happened and your map for what to design differently next time. That's barriers, plan, teach, reflect, export. Free, private, no accounts, everything on your device. The app rests on one idea. Some hard parts of learning are barriers we should remove, and some hard parts are the learning. The skill of teaching in the age of AI is knowing the difference. If you want the full framework behind that line, watch the line we draw. It's linked below. Download Barriers free on the App Store